Once there lived an emperor who was very fond of wearing new clothes. Each day, he spent a major part of his time dressing himself up in his wardrobe. He neglected all his duties because he always wanted to wear his best clothes. One day, two crooks came to his palace. "We are weavers," they informed the palace guards. "We make magnificent clothes. The clothes we design are invisible to anyone who is foolish and unintelligent. We want to meet His Majesty." When the emperor heard about them, he thought, "If I have such clothes, I would be the wisest king in history, and there would be no fools in my kingdom." At once, he called the crooks to his chamber and asked them to make clothes for him. The crooks readily agreed. They stayed in a room in the palace and placed two looms in them. They also took the finest silk, threads, and money from the treasury. Though they began weaving the cloth, but the looms remained empty. A few days later, the emperor thought, "I should send someone to see the woven cloth." Then, remembering that a foolish person would not be able to see it, he smiled and said, "I shall send the Prime Minister. I hope he does not turn out to be a fool." When the Prime Minister saw the empty loom, he was shocked. He thought, "Am I a fool? Why can't I see the cloth?" Meanwhile, the crooks had seen him and asked him, pointing towards the empty loom, "Sir, isn't this cloth beautiful?" "It is the prettiest cloth I have ever seen," lied the Prime Minister. Later, the Prime Minister greatly praised the cloth before the emperor. The emperor was happy. A few days later, the emperor too went to see the magnificent cloth, but he too saw no cloth on the loom. "Am I a fool? It is the most dreadful thing that has happened to me," he thought, worried. But the emperor said, "Oh, it is very beautiful. I cannot wait to wear a suit made out of this fine cloth." The ministers accompanying the emperor too praised the cloth. Some of them even suggested that the emperor should wear a suit made of that cloth at the forthcoming annual parade. Day and night, the crooks worked tirelessly to weave the cloth before the annual parade. Everyone saw them, busily working on the looms, but where was the cloth? A night before the parade, the cloth was woven. Quickly, the crooks cut the cloth into pieces and sewed a suit. Soon the crooks came holding a beautiful suit in their hands to the emperor's chamber. "Here are the breeches. Here is the coat," they said as they helped the emperor getting dressed. "Your Majesty, the suit is so light that you would feel as if you had worn nothing." "You look magnificent, Your Majesty," said the crooks, smiling. The king too admired himself when he stood before the mirror. Just then the Prime Minister entered and said, "Your Majesty, your canopy is ready." "I am ready," said the emperor, beaming. "Let's go." The emperor proudly led the parade, walking under his wonderful canopy, wearing his magnificent clothes. People cheered when they saw him. They said, "What lovely clothes! How magnificent they are!" The emperor was greatly pleased and praised himself for his intelligence. Suddenly, a child cried, "But he has nothing on. The emperor is wearing no clothes." The people heard the child's comment and began whispering amongst themselves. Soon the whispers turned into laughter. "The emperor is naked. He was so busy that he forgot to wear his clothes," said the people. The emperor heard them and realized his foolishness, but he smiled and thought, "I must go on with the parade." He understood that he had been tricked. By the way, The crooks were never seen again in his kingdom.